God chooses 5 types of people. Where do you stand? Let me ask you a question, and don't answer it immediately. Have you ever wondered why God allows some people to go through so many trials, while the lives of others seem to progress smoothly without obstacles? Why do some endure silent suffering, pressure, and loss, while others are celebrated openly and loudly from the start? There is a truth behind this that most people never hear. God does not choose people the way the world does. The world chooses those who appear impressive, but God chooses those who are prepared. The world seeks ability, God looks for hearts he can trust. Being called is common, but being chosen comes at a cost. Many hear God's voice, but when obedience becomes uncomfortable, very few remain steadfast. Many desire purpose, but very few are willing to change themselves for that purpose. This message is not meant to comfort you. It is meant to expose you, confirm you, and guide you in the right direction. Because if God has chosen you, it was no accident. It was not a coincidence. And it certainly was not because you were perfect. In fact, if you are hearing this and feel a certain unease within, if your heart carries questions, pain, or the quiet sense that there is more to life, then perhaps this message is not entertainment. It is recognition. Today, we are talking about the 5 types of people God chooses. Not based on positions, not based on platforms, but based on inner character. And somewhere among these 5, you will surely recognize yourself. So listen carefully, not just with your ears, but with your soul. Part 1. God chooses the broken, not the polished. Let's begin with what often surprises people. God often chooses those who are already broken before choosing those who are talented. Not those who are flawless, not those who are confident, not those whose lives appear complete, but those whom life has hurt, yet they did not give up. If you have been wounded, if life has bent you in ways you never imagined, if disappointment, loss, rejection, or failure has shattered your pride, you are not disqualified, you are placed in a special position. Brokenness does what success never can. It removes self-reliance. It teaches listening. It makes one cautious with other people's hearts. The Bible is full of people whom God trusted after they were broken, not before. Because God is not impressed by sparkle. He is drawn to surrender. Broken people know what it means to rely on God daily, not occasionally. They do not trust in their own strength. They do not assume tomorrow is guaranteed. They pray with authenticity because pretense no longer works. But there is a distinction that must be understood clearly. God chooses the broken, not the bitter. Brokenness that turns into humility draws God near. Brokenness that turns into bitterness drives purpose away. If your pain has softened you, not hardened you, if it has made you wise, not cruel, if it has taught you compassion rather than comparison, then it all happened for a reason. Some ask why God didn't save us earlier. Why did the process take so long? Why did healing come so slowly? Because fragile vessels cannot bear eternal burdens. God was not destroying you. He was emptying you of things that could not go with you to where He was taking you. If you are still standing, still believing, still praying, even if weakly, hear this clearly. Your wounds did not make you unfit. They made you qualified. Because only those who are broken can handle power without abuse, and truth without pride. If this part resonates deeply, perhaps it is because you are the kind of person God most often chooses first. Part 2. God chooses the obedient, not the popular. This must be said plainly, God is not impressed by popularity. He is impressed by obedience. The world rewards showmanship. God rewards alignment. Many chosen people in the Bible were not celebrated. They were questioned, misunderstood, even criticized by those they were sent to help. Obedience often does not look impressive at first. Often is a lonely path. If you have ever felt the struggle of knowing what God wanted from you, and also knowing that obeying would cost acceptance, comfort, or relationships, then you understand this stage. Because obedience always comes with a cost. God does not test obedience first in public moments. He tests it in quiet decisions where no one claps, where no one is watching. Do you obey even when no one sees? Do you remain faithful when rebellion is easy and praised? Delayed obedience or partial obedience is not obedience, it is disobedience wrapped in fear. Many lose their way because they heard God's voice but did not like what He said. Obedient people do not always see the full picture. They simply trust the voice. And one truth that few know: every act of obedience strengthens the soul. It sharpens discernment, it builds confidence. And over time, it develops spiritual authority quietly. If God has ever told you turn away from something that still seemed good, or to stay where moving was easy, or to speak the truth when silence felt safer, and you obeyed despite fear, it mattered far more than you realize. Heaven preserves obedience long before fruit appears on earth. Popularity fades, obedience remains. Sometimes God deliberately removes applause so that obedience remains pure. If you have ever felt overlooked because you chose integrity over attention, if you have fallen in the eyes of others because you stood with God, you were not deprived, you were entrusted. Because God does not place weight on those addicted to approval. If this section stirred something inside you, take heart. You may not be famous, but you are fully known. Part 3. God chooses the available, not the most qualified. This challenges conventional thinking. God does not wait until you feel ready. He looks for the moment you are available. The world says, become stronger, learn more, gain confidence. Then go. God says, come as you are, and let me make you strong. Many of the Bible's greatest responsibilities were given to people who felt unqualified, unready, and uncertain. Excessive qualification often produces self-reliance. Availability produces reliance on God. God has never demanded complete understanding. He has only asked for willingness. Available people do not say, I know it all. They say, if you are with me, I am ready to walk. God can fill gaps, turn weakness into strength, but He never forces a willing heart. Trust often follows obedience, not the other way around. Part 4. God chooses the rejected, not the applauded. This is for those who feel on the margins. Rejection is the most misunderstood act of God. For those whom people reject, God often protects. Applause distracts, rejection builds character. When recognition is independent of human opinion, strength develops. God often hides His chosen ones before revealing them, not to punish but to protect. If you were not fit, if your presence caused resistance, it was no accident. You were not rejected because you were wrong, but because you were ahead of time. Part 5. God chooses the faithful, not the notable. God does not look at temporary enthusiasm. He looks at consistent faithfulness. Those who stand quietly, remain steadfast, are the ones precious to God. Waiting is not wasted. It is training. If faith is quiet but unwavering, this is where God works most profoundly. Conclusion: this message was not information, it was an invitation. Being chosen is not an honor. It is responsibility. Now the question is, will you continue to say yes? Because those God chooses, He does not leave incomplete. And the work He has begun in you is far from finished.